Welcome back to Breakfast Central. It's time for us to go through the front pages of the newspapers. Joining us for that this morning is Jide Johnson. He's the Director, Special Programs, Nigerian Institute of Journalism, Lagos. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us, sir.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Good morning.
All right, now
to
let's
you,
dig into
to
it
our
this
viewers
morning.
in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
And good day to our viewers all over the world.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Let's dig into the conversations this morning and see what the Guardian newspaper has for us on the front page. Now, the big story this morning on the front page of the Guardian newspaper is reign of yesterday's men. Multiple ex-governors turned godfathers unsettle governance in states. Relief as AIU clears Amusan to participate at World Championships. ECOWAS defense chiefs declare readiness to invade Niger. Lobbyists storm APC Secretariat, beg Ganduje for appointments. APC NNPP trade blames over attempts to bribe election tribunal. DHQ confirms 36 soldiers killed in Niger ambush. Naira gains about 15% as dealers dump dollar and count losses. So many stories on the front page, but I think we're going to look at the story of multiple ex-governors turning godfathers and unsettling governance in states. And I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on that story, Mr. Jide Johnson. And maybe if we have some time, we can quickly sneak in the story about the APC and NNPC trading blames. But yes, we'd like you to take the big story about the multiple reign of godfathers.
Well, the governors have taken over the Nigerian democratic space. So this is not news to me. The president today was the former governor. The Senate president was a former governor. The secretary to the federal government was also a former governor. The leadership of the APC from inception till date has always been held by a former governor. Or even when they had a caretaker arrangement, it was a sitting governor. So it's not surprising to many watchers of the political space how the governors have become powerful. You recall in 2003, it was alleged that Obasanjo had to prostrate for the governors then in Delta State Lodge in Abuja before he could secure a second term. So the governors have become all powerful. And then you could also recall the role that the northern governors played in the emergence of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the flag bearer of the APC in the last presidential primaries for the APC. So it's clear. I have described the governors for us not to address the governors in Nigeria as His Excellency, other than we address them as His Imperial Majesty (HIM). So they operate as emperor. They control the party structure in the state. They control every institution you can think of. What we are witnessing in Nigeria is state capture by the class of the governors. If you go from Lagos to Ogun to Rivers to you saw how the governors ensured that the anointed candidate emerged as the flag bearer of their various political parties. So it's not something which started yesterday. It's not something which is going to end tomorrow. It has become a critical component of our democratic space. And until we bring in about true democracy, we will continue to witness the stranglehold of the governors on our polity. And if you situate that with what is happening in NNPP and APC in Kano State, who are the gladiators in both parties in both states, who are former governors. So there's an attempt to have my protege as my successor. That's the battle you are seeing in Kano State. Ganduje was the deputy to Kwankwaso, and after Ganduje was through with his tenure, he brought in about Ganuwa, who happens to be his vice, his deputy governor. Kwankwaso brought in his son-in-law in person of Abba Yusuf. So it's just playing it out. It's playing out across the length and breadth of Nigeria. It's not peculiar to.
Jide Johnson, let's quickly go to the Daily Independent and see what we can find over there. Pretty interesting ones from what I can see. It says the federal government gives states 5 billion naira each as palliative over subsidy removal. Raises committee of governors to negotiate with labor unions to set up 5-man ad hoc committee on flooding across the country. Tinubu
Osarogie.
begs Nigerians to bear pains caused by subsidy removal. Lawyers condemn endless use of charges to detain Emefiele. And 3 officers and 22 soldiers killed in Niger State ambush, says the defense headquarters. Final story I can take because of time. We are ready for Niger with our standby force, says ECOWAS. All right, so let's get you to quickly speak on 2 of these stories. Any 2 that you find most interesting?
Let's talk about the Niger issue. It's a tragedy that within Niger, Niger, I'll situate the 2 together. It's a tragedy that we could lose 36 soldiers within the territorial space of Nigeria, and the mandate of the military is to protect the territorial integrity. If this had happened to Nigerian soldiers, let's say in a neighboring country, what do you think Nigeria will have done to that neighboring country? What do you think will have been the demand of Nigerians? The demand of Nigerians will have been that Nigeria should go to war. This is a terrorist act, and the military, and then it seems as if it's business as usual. The flag was not flown at half-mast. There was no statement released by the presidency. You know, it was just as if it's the norm. We lost 36 soldiers for that matter within Nigeria. It's a terrorist act. As far as I'm concerned, this is not banditry or whatever you want to call it. This is a terrorist act. Those that have been involved in this dastardly act should be fished out and should be dealt with decisively. They've committed treason against Nigeria, and that's the way it should be. It should be treated. What signals are we sending to other countries? What signals are we sending to other non-state actors that whether as if we are not capable of protecting lives and properties of Nigeria? Now you situate that with Niger. We have not been able to defend even ourselves within our country. The ECOWAS defense chief are saying they want to go to war. Anytime you see the drumbeat of war, you should understand the mentality and the thinking of the military-industrial complex. If there's no war, you can't sell arms. If there's no war, people that operate within the military-industrial complex can't make money. So as far as those of them that are concerned that are saying that we are ready for war, we are ready for war. It's about making money out of it. The war between Ukraine and Russia, have they been able to resolve it? Right. We had crisis in Sudan. AU did not look out how to resolve those crises. There are multiple crises in West Africa beyond what is happening in Niger. I think what ECOWAS should have done with Niger is to move on. Engage this military junta and let them come up with a timetable to return power back to a civilian administration, democratically elected administration. That should be the basis.
I think another angle to even look at it from would be what exactly the people of Niger want. But we've run out of time to look at that. Let's quickly look at the Nation newspaper. On the front page of the Nation newspaper, the big story says, states are washed with 180 billion naira subsidy pain relief cash. Federal government's 5 billion naira per state fund for immediate use to cushion high food and fertilizer prices. NEC OK's transfer of World Bank's $800 million to the poor. Talks with Labour to go on. Emefiele charged with fraud, abuse of office, others in Abuja. Arms possession suits struck out in Lagos. Agbakoba, Amadi, Boala, others OK ministers' portfolios. Defense headquarters, 3 officers and 33 soldiers died in Niger ambush, NAF jet crash. Toby Amuson cleared for World Championships. ECOWAS activates by force. I think the last one I'll take is Ganduje leads Uzodinma and Okorocha to Aso Villa. I'd like to hear your thoughts on as quickly as possible because we're out of time in maybe a minute. States are washed with 180 billion naira subsidy pain relief cash. Is that something you're excited about?
Just see the way the Nation cast that headline. Awash with what can 5 billion naira do for the 25 million people supposedly living in Lagos, for example? It's just a drop in the ocean. And another thing, if you are saying you are removing subsidy on one hand, and then you are spending 180 billion on palliative, you are subsidizing. Why don't you invest that money in that sector, in the oil and gas sector? Invest the money and you solve the problem in the long run, not looking for a short-term solution, quick fix solution. What I think the administration has done, because it was based on impulse that made the president to make that pronouncement, they are now trying to look at a quick fix solution to the problem. A quick fix cannot solve this problem. It's a monumental problem. Nigeria is a monoproduct economy. If we really want to get this economy running, if we want to increase the value of Naira with with respect to other foreign currency. We must grow our GDP. And how do we grow our GDP if our industries are not working, if our industries are not functioning, if we can't generate power? And what you use to power the economy is oil. And what government needs to do is to invest in that structure, not to start giving money to people. Start giving, you see, he said at lunch, you record what happened to the palliative during COVID, that some members used it to celebrate their birthday. Some people ordered it in their private warehouses. That's the same thing that might likely happen with this COVID, with this subsidy 180
We haven't had quite the best experience when it comes to conversations about palliatives, but I mean it's unfortunate. We have to wrap up here, Mr. Jide Johnson. Thank you very much for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central for the newspaper review.
It's a pleasure to be. It's a pleasure to be. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for stopping by.
All right.